Crooked Hillary Clinton, who used the State Department as her personal hedge fund for her personal profiteering. Crooked Hillary says she's fighting for us? No, she's fighting for no one but herself.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up.
It took a president to get it done. That dream became a reality because we had a president who said, we're going to do it, and actually got it accomplished.
You voted against the Civil Rights Act in 1964. Would you do so today?
I would have to vote against it.
In 1964, during the presidential election of that year, I was a Goldwater girl. I mean, really, we used to wear, little banners which said Goldwater girl.
We profoundly disagreed with the forms of the welfare reform bill.
By the time Bill and I left the White House, welfare rolls had dropped 60%.
Many years after that, when many people are pronouncing welfare reform a great success, we've got growing child poverty. The poor are suffering.
Then they'd have to talk about the Clintons' past. The same Confederate flag Bree Newsom took down from above the South Carolina State House represents the exact same slave-owning and traitorous Confederacy for which Bill Clinton signed a resolution stating that the highest star on the Arkansas flag represented. To this day, they still have an official Confederate Flag Day. And not only did Bill and Hillary never say anything about this, but for 12 years they celebrated the Confederacy too. I wouldn't want to talk about my past either if I were them.
While I was working on those streets, watching those folks see their jobs shipped overseas, you were a corporate lawyer sitting on the board of Walmart.
The persistent scourge of child labor.
I'm always proud of Walmart and what we do.
Clinton also took a role in supporting a Buy America program.
One of the reasons we want to buy America is because we love America.
Walmart continued to get most of its products from overseas during its Buy America program, including from this factory in Bangladesh that used 11 and 12-year-old girls.
The persistent scourge of child labor.
When he was in trouble in the polls over Jennifer Flowers, he went back to Arkansas, of which he was still governor, and supervised the execution of a mentally disabled, in fact a lobotomized black defendant called Ricky Ray Rector. He didn't know he'd been sentenced to death. He didn't understand when they came to give him his last meal what was happening. Any other week would have received clemency from the governor because there was no one in the prison thought he should be executed. The prison chaplain resigned on the issue. It was like killing a child.
So it was President Bill Clinton who escalated the drug war far beyond what his Republican predecessors even dreamed possible. It was President Clinton who championed laws banning people with criminal convictions from access to public housing so that people wouldn't have housing upon release from prison. It was the Clinton administration that championed laws denying even food stamps under federal law to people who were once caught with drugs. To a large extent, the basic architecture of this new caste system was championed by a Democratic administration.
Not just gangs of kids anymore. They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators. No conscience, no empathy. We can talk about why they ended up that way, but first we have to bring them to heal. 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 Bring them to heal.
The woman who was standing beside Bill Clinton when he signed the Welfare Act admitted before she died that it was the wrong move, that working didn't help her. She worked at a job where she made a little bit of money, and even if after she made a little bit of money, she still couldn't afford her medicine. Clinton used her, just like he used black people, just like Hillary Clinton is using black people now. I'm kind of tired of being used.
By the time Bill and I left the White House, welfare rolls had dropped 60%.
6 million, 2% of our population have no income except those food stamps. The food stamps is the sole thing that stands between them and being totally without any income.
I want to talk about this story that CNN.com put out dealing with the recession worsens racial wealth gap. Whites have a net worth about 20 times that of blacks and about 18 times that of Hispanics. Who's to blame for this?
She was very close to Robert Rubin, to Lawrence Summers, to the people in the Clinton administration who gave us the radical deregulation of Wall Street. So they're the ones that opened the door to the Wall Street thieves that brought on the Great Recession.
Hillary Clinton has not been a friend to black people. We're not just talking about mass incarceration. This duo has gutted and devastated the black community. You can draw a line from the evaporation of black wealth in the black community back to the deregulation of the Clinton years. I would be hard pressed to find in recent memory another president who's been quite as damaging.
Perhaps the most important wreckage to take a look at is really the wreckage of the Democratic Party.
In this campaign, the nation has had to forgive you early and often. We have forgiven you your misspeaking about Martin Luther King's relative importance to the civil rights movement. We have forgiven you the 3 a.m. phone call commercial.
It's 3 a.m. and your children are safe and asleep. But there's a phone in the White House and it's ringing. Something's happening in the world. Your vote will decide who answers that call. Whether it's someone who already knows the world's leaders, knows the military, someone tested and ready to lead in a dangerous world. It's 3 a.m. and your children are safe and asleep. Who do you want answering the phone?
I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
We have forgiven you President Clinton's disparaging comparison of the Obama candidacy to Jesse Jackson's.
Jesse Jackson won South Carolina twice, in '84 and '88.
I think people want change. I think they want to get beyond some of the racial politics that has been so dominant in the past.
We have forgiven you for your boasting of your support among working, hardworking Americans, white Americans.
Senator Obama's support among working, hardworking Americans, white Americans, is weakening again.
We have even forgiven you repeatedly praising Senator McCain at Senator Obama's expense and at your own expense and at the Democratic ticket's expense. We have forgiven you the photos of Osama bin Laden in an anti-Obama ad.
Now, my husband did not wrap up the nomination in 1992 until he won the California primary somewhere in the middle of June, right? We all remember Bobby Kennedy was assassinated in June.
This nation's deepest shame, its most enduring horror, is political assassination. A person who can let hang in midair the prospect that she might just be sticking around in part just in case the other guy gets shot has no business being the President of the United States.
We all remember Bobby Kennedy was assassinated in June.
Today is the 12th of January 2016, 6 years after the earthquake. And for us, it was important to be in front of the Clinton Foundation because Bill Clinton, as head of the interim Haiti Recovery Commission, was responsible for the $6 billion. He had unlimited control of this money. 6 years after the earthquake, Haiti is in worse condition than it was in 2010. Only Bill Clinton can tell the world what happened with this money.
We cannot keep imprisoning more people than anybody else in the world.
Does no one else see the hypocrisy? Forget about super predators in the 1994 crime bill. When Hillary Clinton said this, she was actively using lobbyists from 2 major private prison companies to raise campaign cash. But even now, she has campaign staffers that lobby directly for Geo Group on her payroll.
It was one of the highlights of President Clinton's first term, passage of the North American Free Trade Agreement, also known as NAFTA. 14 years later, critics blame NAFTA for the loss of manufacturing jobs in industrial states, including Ohio and Pennsylvania.
I have been a critic of NAFTA from the very beginning.
Clinton has also said that she made her position clear.
I was one of the voices in the administration warning about NAFTA.
Newly released White House documents indicate Hillary Clinton, as First Lady, was actually a NAFTA supporter. The documents reveal she held at least 5 meetings to strategize about how to win congressional approval. She helped the White House block opposition from labor and environmental groups, and she was the featured speaker at a crucial meeting on November 10, 1993, where 120 women opinion leaders were asked to help lobby the Senate for passage of the deal. According to ABC News, participants in that event said, quote, her remarks were totally pro-NAFTA. And, quote, there was no equivocation for her support for NAFTA at the time. The fact is, Hillary Clinton helped get NAFTA approved.
Frequent favorable comments about NAFTA, including this one in 1996.
Oh, I think that everybody is in favor of free and fair trade, and I think that NAFTA is proving its worth.
Because we're going to put a lot of coal miners and coal companies out of business.
When you make comments like, we're going to put a lot of coal miners out of jobs, these are the kind of people that you're affecting. This is my family. I want my family to know that they have a future here in this state, because this is a great state. I just want to know how you can say you're going to put a lot of coal miners out of jobs, and then come in here and tell us how you're going to be our friend.
Our businesses, we're losing our manufacturing. You look at what's happened to West Virginia. Hillary Clinton says she wants to put the miners and the mines out of business, and I say just the opposite. We're going to put the miners back to work, and we're going to open up the mines. It is just insane what's going on. She's like a job-killing machine.
America, vote Trump.